Alright, everybody. Oh, wait, I didn't realise I haven't put the poster of the film in. So, while I do that, welcome everybody to episode 13 of the Movie Club. Unlucky for some. I don't think so this time. We got some, we got some, we got some good stuff. Mainly just for the fact of the poster that I'm borrowing. Let's. No, I'm not moving that. I'm trying to move the picture, please. No. No, I'm trying to move it. No. That up there. There it is. The guy from NCIS and a dog with sunglasses on. It's like that meme of the clip from blooming the random screenshot from the start of one of those episodes of Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, where there's a dog with sunglasses on a surfboard. I don't know why it's in there. It just is. I love the fact as well, having just clicked on it because I was intrigued by one of the songs that was apparently officially for the soundtrack. It's got the singer who was supposed to be Debbie Harry, but due to situations had to be re-recorded by, hang on, what's her name?
Wikipedia.
Daly.
Yeah.
And then next to Daly is the fucking dog.
I didn't even realize with an Elizabeth Daly song being in this movie, you picking Pee Wee's Big Adventure for your next one, you essentially picked her 2 times in a row.
And Danny Elfman.
And also speaking of 2 times, it is very funny that you ended up picking this movie because I believe before you were involved in the Q&A and the movie club videos, our second movie club is what I consider to be the worst version of this movie. I feel like Summer School is the better version of Moving Violations.
Yeah. It was weird, like having looked at it, I was like, this is very similar to Moving Violations. Except I actually like the students.
Yeah.
I don't want bad to actually come to most of them.
I also forgot until we were watching it because brother, me and you watched it together when I was down there. I completely forgot it was a Carl Reiner movie.
Yeah.
And obviously he's at the beginning also, so you didn't know already.
Yep.
Oh, also cold open. Welcome everybody to the Movie Club review of Summer School. I'm your host Ashley, joined by AJ. If I'm pointing correctly, I can't remember. I'm looking at the YouTube chat, so I don't know. And the person that's below me, so I know I could just generally point down because the person that selected it, Chris. Yeah. Thanks for choosing the good I don't know if it's. I mean, having looked into it, I now get why I feel like I know this film is because it's from the guy that did Full House and Fuller House. Within like, well, Full House started what, the same year? 87.
Oh yeah, it might have.
I'm guessing though that probably premiered like around this time, September, October time, because I think the release date was April? No, July. So there would have only been like a couple of months between this and Full House. Wow. That's
it's funny with me picking a movie from 87 this time. The next movie's from 85. The next time I should just pick one from 86.
Just cover all the.
The only problem is the only movie I know from the year I was born is Platoon.
Well, there's
some of them.
There's something wild. A previous outing on Movie Club. You got Blue Velvet.
I'll let you handle something like Blue Velvet. That feels too advanced for me. That's why I picked Summer School and Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, I did a Blue Velvet video back. I did a versus with Mulholland Drive a while back.
Yeah.
I mean,
what? Oh, do you know your favorite movie from the year you were born?
Edward Scissorhands, and followed closely by Dick Tracy. And I know I have Goodfellas, but if you know me, you know that Edward Scissorhands and Dick Tracy mean more.
Yeah.
See, I'm sorted because I've got Batman to choose from, or Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade,
Oh man, those are two good
or
choices.
Back to the Future Part 2,
So you're just the year before me then.
and Dead Poet Society, and License to Kill. Is that why I have such an obsession with Benicio del Toro? I don't know.
I mean, you say that like it's a bad thing.
Hang on. I'll wait for that whenever we talk about James Bond on here, because I'll find some way to bloody do it. Even though it's already been covered. I'll find some way. I mean, technically I am with a man who haunted himself in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
True.
Well, 6 weeks, I should say. Although it does fall in the gap, or whatever, before that, but... Yeah, it was also weird seeing Mark Harmon, because, the only stuff I know him from is all the NCISs that air on the streams that I get before Raw on USA. I was like,
Yeah.
what's he doing in here? He had
Apparently,
a career before this?
Did anybody read how Carl Reiner cast him in this?
No.
No.
Please tell me it has to do with the Presidio.
He didn't know. Speaking of another Bond. He did a Ted Bundy movie.
What?
And he was and it was when he saw I couldn't tell by the wording if he saw Harmon in the movie or if he saw Harmon in interviews promoting the movie. But he thought that he had a likability to him enough to play Shoop, and it was exactly what he was looking for. But yeah, the thing that started it was Harmon playing Ted Bundy in a TV movie.
So
I mean, he's correct. I think Mark Harmon's pretty likable in this movie.
So that's how
Yeah.
Zac Efron got cast by Farrah Lee in The Greatest Beer Run Ever. He saw a Ted Bundy TV movie. At least it's TV movie
And
over
I
here
know-
because it was released by Sky, which 9 times out of 10 usually means it's shit. Hurricane Heist. I will never forget that.
I know there's an entire library of movies with this concept of the teacher that has to get the not passing students passing. This one's my favorite.
And that goes for comedies and dramas.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause how many do you got? You got High School High, you got The Substitute, you got Dangerous Minds, you got Stand and Deliver.
I love that you started with High School High when High School High is the parody of these movies.
But what else is there? I know I forgot some because you've seen a lot more movies than I have.
You hit the big ones there.
That not bad for me.
Freedom Riders.
Oh man, I forgot about Freedom Riders, and I watched that shit in the theater.
Renaissance Man. Renaissance Man's a good one.
Oh man, Renaissance Man would probably be second.
I'm trying to think if there's any British ones.
My mind for half a second went to I was scrolling through movies in my mind. I was like, Kindergarten Cop. Wait, no, those kids are fine. They're just rowdy. I mean, I guess you could loop it in then if you do the rowdy kids.
Yeah, because they go through a change because of him, so it still fits.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe the closest would be To Sir With Love, but it's slightly different.
But what I like about this one is like I said, I know the premise is tired, but I just enjoy the fact that we have a teacher that doesn't want to be there as much as the kids don't want to be there, and nobody gives a shit for the
Those
first.
who can teach, those who can't teach PE. This is the proof.
No, and it's not the exact same concept, but I probably throw Lean on Me in there as well. I want to say, was he? I think he was a principal though, but it feels like it's the same concept.
But I also like how we have the scene where he comes in the suit, and we think, oh, now he's going to be all serious. He's not going to be the Shoop we know. That lasts 40 seconds.
It's really late when we get the moment where he like has a dramatic turn. But the thing about it is, what's actually makes this movie as good as it is that, and what Ashley was talking about with the students actually being likable, even though they're doing terrible things and making his life miserable, is the movie and the students are so fun. You kind of don't really think about how much they're ruining his life until he finally snaps, and you're like, oh yeah, they have been fucking his shit up.
Yeah.
Everybody has backstories, even to Carl Reiner himself getting the $50,000 lotto, and then like, I'm not teaching this shit anymore. I'm out of here.
Which I don't know if that's how it was in 1987, but I feel like now $50,000 is definitely not quit your job money.
Yeah. It could be for like, it could probably last you like a year or a year and a half maybe.
Well, remember, it was only a summer school job. I don't think he was actually, quitting his actual job. I think.
I don't know. I don't know. We never get an answer to that.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, I was trying to. Are we talking now or 1987 money?
We never saw the new semester, so like.
Plus, does he just go back to teaching PE? Like, does anything change for Shoop?
I mean,
he probably has a little more confidence in his abilities now. Maybe that's probably the closest we get to an arc.
But yeah, like, the Pam who's distracted and has clearly just, got a crush on teacher. The guy who's always asleep, but that's because he's a male stripper. The football jock who actually sort of matures when he becomes friends with the pregnant girl, who has her backstory as well as, how she got pregnant, although we don't know. The geek who's just allergic to everything, and
he's
the amount of posture going into, I'm sticking my entire bloody chest down or up in the bin to present that I'm puking is like, that's commitment.
If anything, even though they play it off as a joke, when like real life stories like that, there's actually kind of a tragedy to Egan by the way that he's like under the pressure of the rest of his family being successful and he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And like when he's introduced and he says the only way I can explain this is I must have been separated at birth or something. And it's like that's like subtly tragic.
And then the girl struggling with her driving test, who it turns out is dyslexic. The guy we see less of, but it's more of like the mystery of like what was he actually doing in that bathroom for 6 weeks. And then the two nutters that actually sort of like have an actual charm to them, unlike the nutters in, driving violations, where it's like, no.
And ironically enough, I think no, they're not the only ones because the stripper, but they actually have like actual jobs that they are able to have.
Mm-hmm.
And you do kind of get the sense it's kind of funny how you see it here and you could think like, oh, maybe it's a ripoff of this, but then they actually did that thing. This whole role with Dean Cameron, who plays Chainsaw, essentially kind of became his forte and like skiing. Like he even did a parody of this in the skiing episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And when you see his character, you might think there's something maybe Spicoli-esque about him. And then apparently there actually was a 7-episode attempted series of Fast Times where he played Spicoli, and Courtney Thorne-Smith, who plays Pam in this, played Stacy, the Jennifer Jason Leigh part. But it only lasted for like 7 episodes. But he actually literally played Spicoli at one point. And I think it was right after this.
Oh my god! Only now have I realised that the bloody Italian exchange student is a lot of vagina from Austin Powers.
Yeah.
What? She really changed in 10 years.
Yeah, because
Wow.
I weirdly enough, I don't think I ever noticed that as a kid. When we grew up on this and Austin Powers. And bro, when you mentioned it when we were watching it that was her, I think that's the first time I'd ever because I remember whenever we'd watch Austin Powers, I'd be like, I feel like I know her from somewhere, and I don't think I ever figured it out in my whole childhood.
Have you figured it out now?
Yeah, it's very obvious now.
She was the sunblock woman in RoboCop 2, of course.
I will say, going back to Chainsaw, something else that we noticed that now like bothers. I feel like I noticed it back in the day too, and it bothered me back then also. The fact that Chainsaw is such a diehard fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so much so that he goes by Chainsaw and lives his life by that movie. And I love the scene where they review it like it's high art, because it is. When I mean, we've talked about that movie a number of times on this channel in that way. But he said it was from 1973 when it's 1974. It's like I would surely think Chainsaw would know that.
I'm just like continuity error. Was it showed anywhere in 1973? Is it like Telluride Film Festival? Well, no, October 74, unlikely.
And I'm very envious of there being a school in this universe where one of the assignments is to review Texas Chainsaw Massacre after watching it in school. It's like I would have that class down completely.
For you, it wouldn't be 100 words; it'd be like 1,000.
Yeah. It's like, could you just maybe not give me a limit? I'll just give you everything. And if you want to go through the whole series too, we could do that as well. It could get fun.
And it feels like, of course, the vice principal Gills has got his backstory of the antagonist of basically just doing it so he can try and get in the good books to try and go for his step up the pecking order. And then there's the teacher that's teaching the honor kids next door, which was this one of Kirsty's first roles, because Cheers was the same year as well, in '87. So
yeah, I think it might have been. Yeah.
Oh no, apart from Star Trek 2, I forgot the obvious one.
But as far as like a major role, and then Look Who's Talking was 2 years later.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are.
Uh-oh.
Oh. It's going how you did yesterday, AJ.
It's always going to be one of us.
But I also find it interesting that this is sorry, I switched to the wrong window. This is the only score that Elfman has not had publicly released.
Yeah, I found it interesting. Are you back? There you are.
There we are. We're back. Panic over.
Yeah, because we found it weird that it was an Elfman score in the opening credits, and then I was kind of like, oh no, there's kind of an Oingo Boingo vibe to it. It's not like Burton Elfman.
Oh man, now I want to see a cut of Summer School with like Edward Scissorhands' soundtrack. It played the ice sculpture music over like the girl doing her driving test.
Well, and it suddenly becomes significantly more dramatic. That's the power of score. Maybe a little bit of the Batman theme over the test taking. Yeah, you could really make this into an epic.
No, you gotta do the Batman theme when he's roller skating.
But yeah, it's just like it's simple to the point. Like it doesn't outlast its welcome. It doesn't drag. All the little scenes that you get of the part of the binding agreement or whatever that they have to basically do the work, they all sort of have their significance and payoff and everything. It just
Yeah,
it gels really well.
yeah. That's the thing is like in another. I'm not specifically going after moving violations. I'm just talking like general,
Well,
just like
to be
general
fair, there's a
comedy.
lot of 80s things that do have sort of that lull in them where you think like this could be cut out or whatever.
Yeah, it's the thing where like we were talking about how every character has a setup where it's like in a worse comedy it would be comedy scenes happening just for the sake of comedy, but it's like all the comedy scenes we see are the payoffs to whatever storyline that character is going through, and it doesn't feel like they're just doing things to do things. Like even when they do the thing where everybody looks like all mutilated and murdered is for a specific reason
Yeah,
with the storyline.
I'm really hoping that Rick Baker was actually involved with the actual special effects.
Some of that for a funny school prank, that shit was gnarly.
The fake ruler in the mouth, like it's like
And
the other
tone
stuff I
always
had
really
seen in like other
useful.
horror films and whatever. But like, and also that the hanging corpse from the behind the door was actually pretty well done. I have to
I
back the
like
credits
too
to check on the
how
visual effects.
I like how at the end too when they revealed the test scores, like they most of them still failed.
Yeah, this is like the We Are Marshall of school comedies, where
I
it's
had that thought earlier.
where it's like they lost, but it's the journey along the way that counted. I love the fact that the guy that spent 6 weeks in the bathroom got the highest score, and it was a 91. Is such a great joke, especially since it's just mentioned in passing and nobody draws attention to it.
Because he isn't there.
and him and his family aren't there at the end. He just moved on with his life. He has no idea everything that's taken place.
Well, he did.
But it does make me wonder, like, was he in the bathroom for 6 weeks, or did he come back to the classroom and there's just no one there because they were taking field trips?
Oh shit! I never thought about it that way. I always took it as literally he was just stuck in there for 6 weeks, and he just somehow survived.
And
But it's
then,
like,
of course, like, did the computer actually make a mistake?
that's also possible. And that guy's just lucking through life. He didn't have to go to any of the classes.
He's just there.
And I love how it would have been so easy to tell the joke where he's taken role and the guy's just not there. I love that he shows back up because by that point even we've forgotten about him.
Yeah.
I also like the credits list him as Jerome Watkins, bathroom guy. Oh, lo and behold, he was in Under Siege. Everything is connected.
We also get that shot that shows that he finished the test before everybody else. Also,
Mm-hmm.
And then
I mean, maybe the computer did make a mistake.
yeah. What if he just didn't take the test at all, and that was a shot of him just sitting there the whole time?
okay,
I did. We were talking about some of the '80s nature of it. I guess if there's one thing that doesn't really age well, I guess you could say would be, was it just me, or was not obviously there's the whole Pam subplot, but just in general between him and Kirstie Alley too. Even though he and Kirstie Alley actually have really good chemistry, the flirting's very aggressive in this movie. Am I imagining that, or is that my 2022 talking, or was the flirting like really aggressive?
Well, I mean, at the same
Pam was
time,
being more abrupt than I was expecting it to be. Like, she was really sort of quite coming on to him and whatever, and I mean the bit at the end.
I mean, that's
the bit at the end where it's just
maybe
like
that's part of Shoop's journey.
the bit at the end is like, let's skip dinner, just have breakfast instead, and then from here to eternity. Except then the dog comes in and just that would have made the scene in From Here to Eternity better. Just the dog licking both their faces. There's the historic thing: dog and men kissing. Yes.
Were you about to say something else, brother?
No, I was just sitting here thinking how it's funny that at the same time he's going through a depression, Wonder Mutt's going through a depression because of Bob's head being gone.
Yeah. That dog, by the way, is really good at playing depressed.
I feel that German Shepherds are good at that. I mean, that's why K9 worked.
Yeah, if I had to work with Jim Belushi, I'd be really depressed too.
Oh, damn it. But yeah, like the driving lessons being combined with the ride to the beach and whatever, and her struggling and then sort of, I want to say, fluking the parallel park.
Yeah. Yeah, I think another reason that it flows so nicely and that it feels like everything is necessary is another thing when you read up into it is that a lot of scenes were cut, it sounds like. Brother, you were noticing when he was putting all of the sentences on the board, and then they had like kind of the way to say them like proper English on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Their lyrics to Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. Apparently that was a whole scene that got cut where they went through that.
It still bugs me that when Shoop actually, we see him write on the board, it looks nothing like the writing up there.
Yeah, now I want to see the deleted scene to see like if he actually wrote all that out and then just write something else entirely in a totally different handwriting. And then I guess there was another scene where you can see like hair products laying around everywhere, and it's because there was a deleted moment where there was an assignment to write complaint letters, and in response they got all that stuff, and that was a whole scene. And another reason I bring this up is not only does it help with the flow that all this stuff is kind of cut out that isn't as much of a payoff as the other stuff, is there is the one scene that we were really confused about where he discovers Larry at the strip club. And it starts with Shoop walking up to a woman and saying he's from Playgirl magazine. That doesn't seem to be connected to anything. It's like he was walking up to scam her or something. But we never learned why he was there and why he was saying that, unless I missed something.
Yeah, he just kind of shows up. I'm guessing there's a deleted scene where they said they thought they saw him going there.
He was mentioning something, I remember, saying how he needed to get a woman's touch or a woman's view on things, and that's why he went to the club.
Okay,
but I can't remember what in relation to.
Yeah, so he went to a male strip club where he'd find a lot of women. That seems like a very roundabout way to get to that. But okay, I see now. It makes more sense now than it did before.
But yeah, like everybody does also seems to be perfectly cast. They sort of fit the stereotypes to some extent. There's nobody where I can't believe, you know.
Yeah, because I love. I always remember. I think Robin Thomas was he Joan Allen's husband in The Contender? I think
so. Yeah.
And he's very good as. I love the way Gills is played, especially because of the way like he doesn't really have that one moment where Kirstie Alley turns on him like you would see in another movie. It's just kind of it's they're basically like Elizabeth Perkins and John Hurd in Big, where it's like they're together, but this doesn't really seem to be a strong relationship, and she's probably trying to get out of it anyway. It's more like, oh, this is my coworker, and this is convenient. But then you get that moment where it could be a moment where she's going to turn on him, but Gills actually plays it smart and decides to help Shoop out of jail so that he doesn't, even though he straight up says, "This is so I don't look like a shit in front of you," that he still took that approach and acknowledged that that's what he did look like, so he's going to go around that. It felt different for that kind of part to acknowledge what he was and try to make sure he could stay in that position without fucking himself over. And thus getting us away from the cliche scene where Kirstie Alley says to him, "You know what, you're a piece of shit, I'm going this way." We don't really get a Kirstie Alley Gills breakup. It's just kind of assumed. And I like that we kind of went around that.
And the irony is you can see him practically all the time on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
Somehow that makes perfect sense to me.
He's been the father of like the lead actress in that for 7 TV films.
Jesus.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Are there any like kind of throwaway jokes that stand out to either one of you? I've got a few.
That Shoop is just okay with the permission slips.
Yeah.
Like he's not like, guys, you have to really do. No, he's just like, okay.
Sticking with Gills, I do like the fact he's like, yeah, we go to wine country. If we bail it, if we go to the police station, we're gonna hit all the traffic and struggle. But then I'm gonna do it because I don't want to be a piece of shit.
A couple of like what I love too is these bits are like, that's the thing, is they're not like full bits, they're just like throwaway lines or throwaway moments. Where like I said, where like a worse comedy would commit to just unrelated comedy scenes. Like just one of the things that gets me is when they're gonna do the driving lessons and Chainsaw's in the back and they're in a car with no top and he locks the door. He locks the door because he's afraid it's gonna wreck. And I love the moment with Larry during the test at the end when he's looking around and it looks like he's about to cheat, but then he just puts on like these ridiculous glasses and he didn't want anybody to see him wearing them, and that's the whole bit. It's like, it's just one of those throwaway things that work just as well as any big elaborate comedy bits.
The only thing I felt sort of disappointed by is it was just like, yeah, the kid went up for adoption. Because part of me does think, like, the guy that's with her is sort of like a decent replacement father figure for the baby. So, like, keep it.
Oh yeah, the jock who would play another jock in Heathers like the next year. You can never remember his name. And by the way, the pregnant girl is Shawnee Smith, and if you stick around for the horror versus tomorrow, we're going to talk about Shawnee Smith again. 2 videos in a row.
Oh.
I actually like that she gives the baby up for adoption, because I think that's something else that kind of subverts the expectations. Like, you expect him to be the father, and it looks like they're going to live happily ever after, but they actually make the mature decision of, hey, this is going well, but it's not for us yet.
Yeah, the maturity in it is unexpected.
Especially in an 80s comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have the abortion subplot in Fast Times. And at the time, that was considered like really real for a movie like that. And it kind of feels like this is sort of another version of that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think in a lesser movie, she keeps the baby and the guy quits the football team. But in a way, they both still get what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's triumphant for him that he gets to stay on the team.
Yeah. And I think it would have cheapened that moment for him. And I don't think he was enough of a character focused on to warrant a scene where he decides to be a father figure instead of play football.
Yep. That would have been way out of place.
Yeah.
Also, thanks so much. We get the moment where she starts to go into labor during the test. And it's like, even though this is emergency, they go all the way through the clock anyway. And I love that Shoop's response is, "Why didn't you say anything?" But I thank them so much for having a character that's pregnant through the whole movie that goes into labor and not giving us a birth scene, because there is nothing more unfunny than a birthing scene in a comedy. It's almost always. We got Kirstie Alley here who had Look Who's Talking. That's like one, but like most birthing scenes in comedies are fucking terrible, and I'm so glad we weren't put through that.
Can I nominate Big Fish?
Oh
When
yeah,
he flies out across the floor.
yeah.
So we're up to 2 then.
Yep. I'm struggling here, I guess.
Would you count Father of the Bride Part 2?
Maybe. I have a vague memory of it. Like yeah. Well, it's not as terrible as like when I can't remember the name of that movie now. I think Jennifer Lopez was in it. Has one of the absolute worst ones. When they make it really over the top, is when it gets bad, and that's what a lot of bad comedies do. And like I said, I love that we're going this far into this just to praise this movie for just not doing that at all.
Going into the chat, Josephine says, "Hey, Popcast team, watched this on Saturday night. Loved it. Definitely an overlooked 80s classic. Would make a great double feature of moving violations."
Yep.
As in seeing that the other one is okay and the other one's good. Don't get me wrong. I accepted moving violations. I didn't think it was bad. I just think it could have been better, and in essence, that's what summer school was, at least in the respect. What class would you rather be in, summer school or moving violations? Summer school, because they're likable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like they give Ikian a hard time, but none of them really hate each other.
There is one thing we should bring up, but like I said, I think the movie deals with it, so it's not really a criticism, and it's kind of an arc for the characters, especially Ikian, because Ikian's the one that kind of wins the class over by setting up the negotiation concept, and then we actually get to that point right before Shoop snaps when they come in with, "We want to renegotiate now," which is a dick move because they've gotten away with so much. But like I said, the movie deals with that by Shoop bringing them back to reality, saying, "Do you know what you've been putting me through? And I've been chill with up to this point."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I remember when we were watching it with your wife, when it got to the renegotiate scene, your wife was like, "These people are awful." It's like, I think they just got a little power hungry because Shoop was a little too lenient. But that's kind of the conflict in that scene, is that they got too power hungry because he was too lenient, and they work that out.
Mm-hmm. Can't hear you.
Oh shit.
I was like Mindy Sterling and Austin Powers too there.
Yeah.
I did that before we started. Why has it done it again? I did that to try and stop that happening, and it still happened. Damn it. The horror makeup in the scene where all the students pretend they were attacked is pretty grossly creative, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And then Josephine also says the Texas Chainsaw Massacre fans did remind me of like Bill and Ted before they became Bill and Ted.
Oh yeah, I can kind of see that. But it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre instead of like Raw.
Yeah. Bry has said, I've got to. I'm guessing that's I've got to say rather than I got a day. I've got to say what a fun movie this was.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. We can all finally agree on a movie, and it's Summer School. That's fucking amazing.
You're welcome.
I would have never have imagined, Josephine says, I never would have imagined Elfman doing the music for a teen movie, not including Spider-Man. I also found out today that Elfman also did the score for Nightbreed.
That makes a lot more sense.
The same score in this film was used for The Karate Kid a few years before.
Oh, that makes perfect sense because of the beach.
Reiner arranged for the scene in which the students to try and scare the sub-teacher with blood effects and the gory makeup on Halloween so that all the actors could be dressed up for parties later that evening.
Yes, the movie's topical now for the month. Yes.
And then,
oh man, no wonder so many people loved Carl Reiner.
sticking on the horror front as well, Oceanfront High was also the same score used for Nightmare on Elm Street 2 a couple of years before.
That makes sense because I think I can't remember her character's name now. The one that needed the driving lessons is in one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I think it's 4 or 5.
The film features popular rides that are no longer existent at Knott's Berry's farm in Buena Park, California. The parachute ride is seen behind the corkscrew roller coaster that the class was riding. Does that mean the parachute ride is still there, or and like the roller coaster isn't? Mark Harmon guest starred in 2 season 8 episodes of Jag that became the pilot for NCIS, with Patrick Laporto, who played Kevin, the jock, starred in 208 of the 227 episodes of Jag. And then 3 episodes as of last year of NCIS as well. You'll be unsurprised to know a lot of people in this have appeared at least 1 episode of Jag or NCIS or both.
The Mark Harmon tree, I guess.
It's not the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, it's the 6 degrees of Mark Harmon. With Summer School at least. The scene where they read their essays on who inspires them reminded me of the SpongeBob procrastination episode when the doofuses repeated the word very throughout their paper.
Yeah.
To be fair, I had that for some of my assignments. Not to that extent, but it was like, okay, I'm about 15 words short. Is there any way I can change this like 1 word thing to like 2 or 3? Just pad it out a little bit so it hits the word limit. Right, let's go to thesaurus.com. Carl Reiner was awarded the annual Kennedy Center Mark Twain Prize for Comedy. I mean, for his career, yes.
For his career, that's the least they could do.
I mean, with some of the humor, it sort of like surprised me that he was doing it. Because I wouldn't say like Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid and The Jerk and Man with Two Brains and All of Me were very sort of like out and out sort of like 80s-esque. But then of course he did technically direct Fatal Instinct, that weird film in '93.
Fatal Instinct still has one of my favorite jokes ever. When they're in the courtroom and the judge says we'll take a brief recess, and it cuts to all the people in the court out on a playground.
Yeah. Fair point. David M. Walsh, who did the cinematography, also did Private Benjamin, Johnny Dangerously, Silver Streak, Roller Coaster, The Goodbye Girl, Murder by Death, and Woody Allen's Sleeper.
Roller Coaster really sticks out in that list. Roller Coaster's like a thriller.
I was going to say Sleeper was, because Sleeper's 73? Whereas most of the other stuff is what? Maybe late 70s, early 80s?
That sounds. I was thinking Sleeper was closer to like 79 or something. I could be off though. He has so many damn movies. I can't keep track of them sometimes.
Sleeper, 1973 film. I only remember because that was one of my mum's favourite Woody Allen films. Probably just for my brain. It's my second favourite organ. I might have to touch on that one on the movie club eventually.
Yeah,
and then get
definitely.
cancelled for bringing up a Woody Allen film. Bud Mullen, the editor, did a lot of Carl Reiner's other films. Which makes sense, if you've got a partnership, you work with it. And obviously it's not like... Obviously with some directors, they stick with the same sort of editor, but when it's like somebody like Danny Boyle, where they do try and go into different genres for their projects, like a Matrix bloody dance thing. Why did the Bond did getting thrown off the Bond thing like change him or something, make him weird? I don't know. Bry says, though we don't see it, one character vomits twice. Thank you for the vomit check.
Yeah.
Oh, and Bry also says, still to this day, I still can't find a way to watch Moving Violations. Google video search is somehow your friend. That's all I'm saying. Then again, having seen this, don't watch Moving Violations. Watch Police Academy, and then this. It's pretty much like half of it is one film and half of it is the other.
Oh, Owen will be so pissed if he was here.
I cannot tell a lie. I can. I can tell a lie. I'm so excited that apparently Adam Sandler's Happy Madison wants to do a remake of this. Then again, that was announced 10 years ago, so thank fuck.
Yeah, hopefully that's over now.
Yeah.
And that just kind of went away.
Sadly,
they'll bring it back as a TV series.
Sadly, that news was put out apparently on the Hollywood Reporter on the 2nd of April 2012. If only it was the day before, then I could actually treat it as a joke. Because I think if you tried to remake that like now, it wouldn't work as well.
Yeah.
Because I think if you tried to stereotype people like nowadays, it would probably get looked on harshly to some extent.
Yeah, I was gonna say you'd almost have to do it in a meta sense, like the Jump Street movies, but even then, I don't know how you would, really.
Yeah. David L. Snyder, the production designer, was the art director for Blade Runner.
Holy shit!
Wow.
Summer school brought the big guns.
I hope that's his handwriting on the board, by the way. Very mysterious handwriting.
Especially, I want to see him write those lyrics to Papa's Got a Brand New Bag.
Also was production designer for Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Armed and Dangerous, Demolition Man.
Ooh.
Is he watching? Vegas Vacation and the whole 9 yards. That went all over the place. At least he's not typecast. I'll give that.
Yeah.
And then also, Josephine says Linda de Siena, who was set decorator. So she's probably the one that wrote on the chalkboard. Also did the set decoration for Wolf, Scrooged, Rocketeer, Harry and the Hendersons, Buckaroo Banzai, Back to School, Color Purple, and Rain Man. That got serious at the end. Where did it come from? I'm trying to look at the cast and crew now on IMDb because I'm trying to work out who did the special effects. But yeah, you know, Reiner did a good job directing. It's a very good script, and as you know, previously referenced, it does feel like it is sort of in the same style as Fuller House, that sort of writing.
And it's concise, which is something that's missing from a lot of comedies lately.
Oh, there we go. Uncredited. Norman Cabrera and Rick Baker did the special makeup effects. That's why they wrote the very, 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 very thing. But all in all, I mean, maybe I chose the right time to buy it as well because it was only $3.99. Whether it was on like half price sale on Amazon, but it's like, because it's something that I actually wouldn't mind watching again. That's the thing. Sometimes with the films, it's like, you know, one's enough, and then you know, second time is you know, just for there, or it becomes obsessive like Sleuth and whatever, and then, like, I watch it too many times. Yeah, but this feels
Yeah,
like
I don't know about you, brother.
having not known.
I don't know about you, brother, but I lost track of how many times we watched it growing up because I felt like it was on TV all the time, and Mom loved it. Mom's how I found it when she was watching it. And yeah, and it's like it had been like years and years and years and years last time I watched it when we watched it, and I felt like I remembered everything almost. Except that a lot of vagina was the exchange student.
Well, that being, you know,
I also like his reaction on the beach to when he sees them in the makeup. Like, once again, it would be easy to have him like freak out or fall in the sand or something. But I love that he just looks at him and he's just like, "Wow, rough day." It's like he's not surprised.
And the scene is so casual. Like we were talking about, we watched it with your wife, and Ikian has the saw blade in his head, and she was literally like, "I can't even look at that." It's
also, I'm a bit
confused. What was it she said about Ikian later in the movie? She was like, "I'm glad he found friends," or something like that.
Yeah, she said it's so deadpan. Yeah. Like it's good that he has friends now.
What I find like really off-putting is that the poster for, at least on Amazon, is like a beach with bikini crossing with like Kirstie Alley and I guess the girl that played Pam, Courtney Thomas Smith. And then Mark's got a giant like martini alcohol thing in his hand, and there's the dog with the fucking sunglasses. I'm like, that's got nothing to do with the movie. Why have we done this? What is this?
Yeah, if you watch the movie expected to see a lot of the dog, you're going to be let down.
Well, I'm trying to see if it actually is. I'm trying to see if there's an actual Western release of this. I see a lot.
What's funny is the special effects. The special effects scene where they're all made up and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty gross. But the scene that grosses me out the most is when him and the dog are eating the peanut butter and jelly, both off of his finger. That makes me want to go Ikian in the trash can.
Yeah, so technically, I guess it has come out here in like a a, a European region in 2017, but it's expensive as all hell. And so is the import of getting the American version, even though I don't have a player to play it on. Although, on all the other ones, it also is recommending the same thing, so that's weird. It's all the same price. So is it? Whatever. It's something that I might have to check and just buy it on Google as well, just to be on the safe side. Oh, some more comments. Josephine says, I don't see why you couldn't do a movie set at a summer school today. I just think the cast would have to be more diverse. Yeah. I mean, you could obviously bring in
Who's even got the likability today to play like a shoot type?
I wouldn't mind seeing. He might be. I don't know if he's too old for the part now or not. The first person that jumped to mind for me was Jason Bateman.
Yeah, my first thought was Ryan Gosling.
So half Nelson.
I've heard relatively good things about John Hamm in the Fletch thing. I think he.
Yeah, it was just he had it. He had the delivery. It was the script that let him down.
I think he would do maybe, if not as the teacher, but certainly as like the equivalent of Gills, the vice principal.
Yeah. It's like whoever we're thinking of. The first thing I'm trying to imagine is them roller skating down the beach. Like that's.
No, I have who I would cast as Gills, and it's not close. Matt Dillon.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that, and it would be a good in joke because he always played. The fact that Matt Dillon always played delinquents in the '80s makes it a good in joke.
Josephine says Scoot McNairy
For Shoop or Gills, does she say?
Maybe.
I guess he could really do either.
Yeah.
I could also see another Gills. I could see Matthew Glaive.
Oh man, where is he? By the way,
somebody go find him.
I love that you said Matthew Glaive right after she said Scoot McNairy because it's just the cast of Argo now.
Bryce says, which student in summer school would you want to be? But bathroom guy.
The guy in the bathroom for 6 weeks.
No, bathroom guy doesn't count. You didn't let me finish.
I love it. There's some kind of caveat here that's going to disqualify bathroom guy.
I was already seeing you off at the pass, Chris. No.
Well, I mean, obviously he's got his clear setbacks, but I feel like I have no choice but to be Chainsaw, right? I mean, I've only talked about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at least three times on this channel.
Who could you have seen playing Shoop in the 80s? Like, if it wasn't Mark Harmon, who would you cast? Because I think I know who would cast if I couldn't get Mark Harmon.
Another one that would be kind of a good in-joke, but who could also have actually played the part, especially in the 80s. And I don't know if this is Kirstie Alley in my subconscious, but I could see Travolta doing it. And obviously, Matt Carter would be like an in-joke where he's on the other side of the...
My alternate 80s Shoop would be Michael Keaton.
Oh, definitely. But it's like in Billy Blaze mode.
Yeah. Like I could see him having the dog, the Hawaiian shirt, the aggressive flirting.
Dude, if it was Michael Keaton in Billy Blaze mode, he wouldn't be losing control of the students. The students would be losing control of him. And honestly, I want to
kind of movie. We need to do a genre reversal movie, and we need to do a movie where the students have to get the teacher under control. Because the closest I can think of is School of Rock.
Yeah.
And I bet you've never thought of School of Rock that way till just now.
Yeah, how it's the reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I already love School of Rock as it is. I might more now.
That's why you asked me to do these videos.
Josephine also says Ethan Hawke, Ben Foster, and of course his real life wife Laura Prepon could be Kirstie Alley's character. And Bry also says, what Chris says, yes for me, because I'm allergic to peanuts. So I think, in summary, and I'm pleased that I found that this exists, because it's never had a wide release, if at all, over here, and it's just buried as a thing that maybe on Amazon Prime to watch for free. I know it wasn't for me. I'm clicking on this link because it says Prime members get it for nothing. But I purchased it because it didn't say I could watch it with Amazon Prime, so maybe it's just the account thing. But like, you know, whether it's even available on is it on a streaming service?
No, I had to bust out my DVD.
Paramount Plus can't even put it on there. My God.
I think it was on Paramount Plus at one point. Maybe it had to make way for Top Gun Maverick.
Considering how many adverts I keep seeing for the crisps that I buy, where it's like Mission Impossible, because get a free month of Paramount Plus when you sign up, and it's just like you were hoping that Mission Impossible would come out, but you can't be bothered to waste anymore. So now you've just stuck it on because they're desperate to get Paramount Plus because they're probably going out of business for the next 12 months. Somebody's gonna buy them. But yeah, it's something that I'll gladly watch again. AJ?
Oh yeah, I was very pleased to find how much it holds up because, like I said, we grew up watching it, and I always loved it. And it's always so satisfying when you go back to something after so many years, and it's like, yeah, this is exactly the movie I remember it was, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris being the selector, the purveyor.
Yeah, like I said,
I said
in the beginning, it's definitely a genre that has been played out, but I think it's still it has new things to bring and to help it stand out in that genre. Like you said, I think the students are likable. Mark Harmon is likable, and whenever he has his snap moment, we're on his side because we realize how far he's been pushed. So I don't think that makes that feel forced. I think it's just, for what it is, it's just a very smooth movie that's smart about what it is and knows what it is and knows how to do it in a way that can make it stand out from the other ones.
Roy leaves it in chat. Even if it is a fun movie, I give it like a B-. I'd say that's probably fair. It's not exceptional, but it's also like nothing that I try and avoid. It's something that.
So basically, what I got from that, AJ, is that Brian believes that Summer School is miles better than Cloud Atlas.
That's what I was saying. I love that of all the movies we all agree on, it's this one.
Such is the power of Mark Harmon. Did he really go on to do much more comedy? I know he's in the Freaky Friday remake, but did he do much more comedy after that?
Let's have a quick look at
That's...
his filmography. That's a romantic drama. Uncredited in Natural Born Killers.
Oh, that's right.
When was he in that? I don't remember.
He was
Was
the
he in the
uncredited Nicky.
Yeah,
The
he's when they
reenactment.
do the reenactment. When they do the reenactment for the crime show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He was in. He was the president in Chasing Liberty.
Uh,
Just randomly.
That makes sense. Looking at him now, he looks like he would play a president.
yeah,
To
it's
be
one of
fair,
those cases where he doesn't look like he'd be a real president, but he does look like he'd be a movie president.
Yeah.
to be fair, it does feel like he's happy enough with NCIS. Because
I don't think he's on it now. I don't think he's on the new season.
yes, but the key thing is exec producer on that and NCIS New Orleans.
Yeah, he's
okay.
probably made more money off of NCIS than he would ever need.
Yeah.
And he does have like comedic things on that show, but it's more about his deadpan delivery of it. Like he doesn't get to be a big personality like he is in Summer School.
Yeah, he's not acting on it anymore, but he's still part of the production for the OG NCIS, which is verging on its 20th anniversary. Well, 20th season at least, so.
Now, I don't necessarily want the remake, but I'll give a shot to a sequel where we have Principal Shoot.
That'd be interesting.
He was actually.
And he's on like Wonder Month 4.
There you go. He was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actor in TV, Film, or Miniseries for The Deliberate Stranger, the Ted Bundy film.
Wow.
That's for that year. I'm just trying to see who he lost out to. 1987. Randy Quaid for LBJ, the early years.
That was an odd time.
The other nominees were Alan Arkin for Escape from Sobibor. Wait, that says Mark Harmon for After the Problem. What the? Wait. What? Why does it say he's in there for deliberate? Am I looking at the wrong year? Oh, 86. Take it back. That was 87, which is weird. So he lost to James Woods for Promise that year, actually, for Deliberate Stranger, alongside the other nominees: James Garner for Promise, Jan Nicholas for Peter the Great, and John Ritter for Unnatural Causes. Whatever that is.
Oh man, John Ritter would have made a good shoot too.
Yeah, especially at that time.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I miss John Ritter.
Yeah.
Josie says a great time chatting with you. Thanks for sharing the movie with us. Wow, thanks for joining us, everybody. Those of you here live or on archive, we'll be back movie club wise in 2 weeks, covering AJ's pick of Kronos, which that was Del Toro's second, right? Because Devil's Backbone was his first.
I think Kronos was first. I think.
Well, we'll look into that for 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
I lose track of the order. We'll have the Q&A though. 2 weeks yesterday. So just to get the dates, that'll be the 17th for the Q&A bits. Hopefully it's 6. And then 6 on Tuesday the 18th for the Kronos talk. Between now and then, loads of other stuff here on the network. I need to do some sip and snacks, which, if I can get around my cold and everything, will be hopefully done soon. AJ, you've got. Have we got like this week's reviews up at the minute, or set to go up?
There's going to be 2 review videos in about a couple of days. Like probably Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday. There'll be 2 consecutive review videos, and in between will just be the verses and the new Stephen King thing. And we're actually going to be doing quite a bit of Stephen King in a little bit, but and just all the other normal stuff.
And Chris, hype up your Instagram.
Instagram is at Chris Hunt's Toys. Next toy hunt is Toyhio on October 15th.
I can be found on Twitter at AshesMyNameUK. The Twitter account that will tweet up when videos go live is at Popcast Network. AJ cannot be found on social media, and just like Keith Richards, cannot be killed by conventional weapons. You can see how lazy I've become. I'm not even trying to do other additional jokes. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching and listening. Until tomorrow, boys and girls. That's all we got to say about that.